we are live with author Rebecca. Is it Jaycox?
It's Jaycox, just like
Jaycox.
it's spelled.
Yes.
You got it right.
Hey, I have done so well this month with author names. I've gotten every single one right. And everybody has nice, very, very nice character names, that I can pronounce.
Can you pronounce everybody?
Yes.
Great.
That makes me so happy.
Yay.
Yes. All right. So, of course, as usual, guys, if you are watching this, if you have a comment, you can toss it in the comments below. If for some reason YouTube is being mean, you can toss them onto Twitter or Instagram. You can either DM me directly or you can toss it in a comment or just tag me. I will find your comments. I will find your questions, and they cannot hide from me. All right. So, hey, Allie. Already have somebody watching. Yay!
Hi, Allie.
All right. So, of course, as usual, we like to know a little bit about you, where you are, if you like to share that with us, and your journey to publishing.
Sure. I'm in New York City.
Okay.
My journey to publishing is rather interesting. This is my second press with the same series. I was with a really small press in St. Louis, and then I ended up becoming friends with this writer in the UK who started his own press and then actually bought a mid-sized press there called Impress. And so we actually started talking because I'm an editor. I edit fiction books.
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, and when my other press closed down, I said, I have this book. I don't know quite what to do with it. And so I sent it to him and he loved it. And he said, well, I'll take it on. So it was nice. So I started out as, his editor for all the books that they publish. And he took me on as a writer, which was because I was kind of panicking, and I didn't know what I really wanted to do with the book because small press closed. Do I want to go on my own? Do I want to try to query again? And that's tricky.
Right.
Once it's already out there. So that's why I have this beautiful new cover and we branded the series. And so
I mean,
it's
the
kind of
cover
exciting.
changed because I saw the original cover because it even changed the name, right? Because the other one was like the other
Name
something
change.
or other.
Yeah, the other Inheritance was the original name.
Yeah. I mean, this cover is just like spoken. It is so amazing. I was talking to a friend of mine who's an author with Inkyard Press, and she was like, "Oh, who are you chatting with today?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Rebecca Jaycox and her book." She's like, "What the book? What's the book?" "Oh, Secret Mage." She looks at it, she's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, right.
It's a smoking cover when somebody from like one of the big publishers is like, "Holy crap, that's a great cover!"
It's so nice. It's my designer did such a good job.
It's amazing. I love that cover. It was so fun playing with like the clouds and the fire and everything, and it was kind of funny because yes, because I made the one video and posted it to share, and then I made one for the week of the show, and then I was like scrolling through my Instagram like, how did I do that? Because I generally don't accidentally do something twice, and I did. I used the same black background, and I'm like, crap.
It's so pretty though.
Oh,
it's okay.
It is. It works. It just works so well.
So pretty. I love the whole series. The second cover is out now. The final, I did a cover reveal. I think I showed you. I think.
Yeah. You sent me something.
Yeah, and then the third cover is really cool. So you'll have fun playing with that a lot.
Woo!
The third cover. So.
Woo! I get to play with covers.
Well, you're good at it, so
I love it. I love doing it, and there have been some covers. There's an author coming later this year. I think she's coming on in August, and she sent me her book cover, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, and I did something with it. It's like it's not exactly what I wanted to do with it. I keep trying to get hair, like because there's a thing on it for like moving hair, but it always looks weird.
Right, but is that the only element you can play with?
Yeah. So you can like add like to make their hair move, and it just looks so weird.
Oh, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to my cover artist Molly Phipps from We've Got You Covered. She's also my writing partner for different series. So go Molly. She designs beautiful work.
So how many books have you written in total so far?
4 and a children's book.
Oh, okay.
So this series that you read is complete now. It'll be out this year. Second book's in September, third book's in November. So it's all going to be complete. And then I just started
nice. Don't have to wait.
You don't have to wait. So if you actually read the book, you're like, oh, it's going to take her forever. No, they're all out this year.
Yay.
No wait. And then my partner Molly and I are writing a Nephilim Paranormal series.
Nice.
Which you can read now on Swoon Reads for free before we take it down, called Lightfall. So just if anybody's interested.
Woohoo. Did it get picked up by Swoon Reads or?
Don't know yet. Don't know yet. We'll know until, I want to say September.
Ooh.
So you got a little time to read it.
Nice.
Go read.
I love that they do that. And then you can vote on the covers and stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's just a little, if you're on the author side and you submit, they're not really clear like when deadlines are. They're like sometime. And you're just biting your nails. You're like, sometime where?
Sometime 20 years from now?
Yeah. Like sometime in July. Maybe.
Not July. Skip July. July is cursed. It's my birthday month. It's cursed. We'll go to August.
We'll skip July. We'll go right. Okay. We're going right to August. Works for me.
So of all the different genres you could have chosen, why choose fantasy? Because I mean, fantasy is not easy.
It's not easy.
World building and everything else.
Well, I can't do anything easy, apparently. I am pregnant during a pandemic. So that tells you everything you need to know about.
Don't forget, in the middle of summer, too. You know, you're going to be pregnant all through summer.
You know, why do it easy? I don't know. As a kid, I was always fascinated with fantasy. And I'm an only child. And, you know, when you're bored and you're an only kid and you have a lot of imagination, you like create little worlds.
Right.
And, you know, it's always been my thing. I think some people just really are attracted to certain genres. And I think in those genres, especially for somebody in my age group, I mean, most of the sort of the female heroines you found were in fantasy, right? They weren't really in contemporary things.
Right.
You could be in fantasy and do whatever you want, you know? So I think that's always been appealing to me.
Well, it worked. I really loved, like, the book has a lot of snark in it. So if you guys are looking for a good laugh, this is definitely one to pick up. And I really loved how it started where, you know, you just have these two people talking and then they wake up and then, you know, people are calling other people and they're like, why are you waking me up? You know, you had a dream.
John.
Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. Why you bothering me?
Best friend extraordinaire. He ends up being my favorite character to write later on. He was fun. He's good. I don't know if you've ever watched Veronica Mars.
Yeah.
I loved the relationship between Veronica and Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted that kind of friendship between my character, Reggie, who's the main character, and her best friend, John. I wanted that, you know, that sort of back and forth. No sexual tension, because I didn't want them to be like, oh, but to have that kind of like snarky, I have your back, but I'm going to give you crap about it.
Right. Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
So, once this got picked back up from another publisher, did you have to like go back through and edit anything or rewrite or anything like that?
We hired an editor who's an independent, she's an indie editor, but she actually used to work for one of the big five. And I thought she was really going to make changes, but she didn't. Because I was like, oh, you know, this is the time. I said, I don't want major plot changes, but if you find something like language or imagery can be improved or character dialogue, like this is the time to do it. And then she came back with nothing. And I was like, oh, I guess it's okay then. You know, I was prepared to take my medicine and do what I needed to do. But she was like, oh, I like it. I was like, okay, well, you know, I was preparing for hard work.
That's good. So, well, I mean, that's good though. You know, you prepare yourself for the hard work, and then when the hard work doesn't come, it's like, whoo, yeah,
yeah, and yet, because I am an editor myself, I was like slightly disappointed. What do you mean? Why don't you want me to like kill one of my characters? What do you mean?
Oh God, don't kill anybody off. My
I'm not gonna tell
goodness.
you. No spoilers here.
Let's see. All right. So, what have you been reading lately?
Ooh, that's a good question. What have I been reading lately? I'm reading a sci-fi like space opera right now, and I can't remember the name of it. It's sad. That's really sad. It's a British author. And the main character's name is Jennifer Blue, and I'm enjoying it, and I can't remember it.
Is it young adult or?
No, it's adult.
Or adult? Oh,
It's adult. I switch over.
For Blue.
My partner and I are gonna start a new adult book, so I'm switching over from like YA to sort of adult to get my headspace in both places.
It doesn't say.
It's gonna really wait. Well, no, I don't want to put you on pause while I go look for this book. Hold on. Before that, I can tell you what I read. I read The Serpent and the Dove.
Oh, I need to read that one.
Was
that good? Was it good?
It was good. It was good. I enjoyed it.
It
was a little racy for YA actually, because I've realized lately YA's gotten a bit.
It's gotten
a bit racier than it used to. It's not quite in like new adult where you're just like, oh.
Right. It's like all bets are off.
Yeah, where you're like, oh well. It's not like that, but it was more than I thought. And actually, when I read Holly Black's, series,
the Cool Prince.
Yeah, I love it. But
those are good.
Very good. But even her scene in the third book was like more than I would have thought for YA. Like I enjoyed it, and I thought it was really well done. But I was like, wow, she took it right up to
that line that you don't want to cross.
But I mean,
it's kind of good. I mean, parts of it are good.
I think it's realistic. I think sometimes we forget who these readers are and what they're doing. So I had a review once. A reviewer complained that my characters in Secret Mage like curse too much. I'm like, they're teens. What do you think they do? You know what I mean? I try to write teens as realistically as I can, and you're not really allowed to throw an F-bomb into YA, but teenagers are throwing F-bombs left and right. So
at least when their parents aren't around.
Yeah. Walk down the street here in Queens. That's all you're hearing.
Right.
Right. So, I think it's important to be realistic. So when they criticized, and they had language, and then there were some sexual situations. I'm like, yeah, they're 17 and 19. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
Right. There's another book out a while back ago, The Anatomy of a Misfit. I think it's by Andres Cortez or something like that. It's like I can see it over here, but I can't see all of it. My books are in tote, so it's like I can see it. But yeah, oh my God, it was so funny. And that one has a lot of cuss words in it, but it was like it fits so well. It was so funny.
I myself like to drop the F-bomb sometimes, but not on your show. I'm just letting you know.
Well, this is marked as not kid friendly, because if it's marked as kid friendly, nobody can comment, and that's not going to work. It's not going to work. I learned that the hard way.
especially since moving to New York City, it's I always joke. It's like it's my second favorite word, but I'm going to be good.
Well, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. I finally found a job after looking for about 5 years. So I'm in a bookstore with other people around. I'm trying not to swear. And as soon as you try not to swear,
you swear all the time.
That's all you do. That's all you do. You can't stop it. You just got to let it go, and it will just slowly trickle down and die out.
Actually, it's funny. My husband and I travel a lot, and we always know when we're back in the country and we land in JFK, because that's exactly what we hear, like the cursing, and we're like, oh, we're home. We're back in the Big Apple. We know we're home now.
Oh goodness. So. Let's see. What was your favorite scene to write?
Ever, or just in this book? No. In this book, my favorite scene to write was probably the introduction of Bryn, who is my elf changeling who changes into a wolf. He's such a dynamic character, and he comes in. His entrance is pretty cool, so it's probably the best scene that I had the most fun with in this book. He's one of my favorite characters. He comes in and steals the scene, says something funny, it's just really sexy, and then he like exits and is a badass. Those characters are fun to write.
Oh goodness. Let's see. Actually, we're getting some writing questions. I love it. I love it. Are you a plotter or an outliner?
Oh, you mean a pantser?
Or a pantser? Yeah.
With Secret Mage,
what's the definition of that though?
Pantsers don't plan anything. They just write and see where it goes. Outliners outline chapters and they know exactly what's going to happen. For Secret Mage, I actually outlined the first half and the middle is pantsing, and then the end was outlined. So I knew where I wanted to start. I knew where I wanted to end, but I wasn't quite sure about the middle. So the middle was just whatever came out of my scary brain, you know? So that was the middle. Let's see, the second one, I did the same thing pretty much for all of them, the 3 series. I outlined half and then I tried to give myself a little room to be creative. Yeah, so I'm half and half with the series. With the series I'm writing with my partner, everything was outlined. Every chapter. So, which actually made writing so much easier. And then I was kind of like jealous that I didn't do this all the time.
Are you guys in the same state or?
Oh, she's in the UK. So we can't write together. We actually have Skype meetings and like plot once a week. So that's a challenge.
Right.
But she's so much fun, so it's fine. But I was just, as we went through, because she's one of those strict outliners, I was like, oh my God, this is so much easier. I could have written this series much faster if I just really made myself like sit down. But so I'd say in general, when I write by myself, I do a bit of both, but with a partner, it's very regimented, sort of, because you have to be, because you're responsible for like deadlines with that other person, so you don't get to be a pantser, because you know, if it's yourself and you fail yourself, oh well, I didn't write as much as I wanted today. Like nobody cares, but you don't want to fail like your partner, who's like waiting on you. Yeah, who might be in the UK but still like hurl something at you through.
It's like I mailed you something to hurl at yourself. You know, it'll be there in like 4 to 8 weeks.
It'll be there. Revenge is a dish best served cold. You're gonna like this. So a bit of both when I write by myself. That's a good question.
Let's see. Can you give us an example of how you would plot a chapter?
Ooh, how would I plot? So yes, I can. My recent example with my writing partner and friend Molly. So we switched off into different POVs, point of views. So she was the female character, and I always joke that I said, okay, I'll be the dick in this relationship. Like I'll take over the hero. So when we're outlining the chapter, it's kind of like, where do we want to go with this? So for me, we had a goal, like in our book, my hero is a dark Nephilim and she's light, and how do we get them? We have to get them from the beginning to where they meet, because they're going to be kind of like have a Romeo and Juliet sort of aspect. So when you're plotting, it's like every step is to get to that meeting and then beyond the conflict. And actually being a developmental editor like I am, and I'll tell actually this to my clients and anybody who is looking to write a book, everything has to lead to something else or there's no point. You shouldn't just have excess there for the sake of excess. The descriptions, everything you're doing has to lead the story forward and to what you're trying to do. And if it's not there and it's not doing anything, cut it out. So that's actually how I plot as well. Like everything that I'm thinking, from scenery to character development, has to lead and push that forward. So that's how I when I do outline and outline chapters, that's what I do. Like, how can I push this?
Cool. And that's good advice though, because like I'm attempting to write a book. Well, attempting to write quite a few books. And
It happens.
that's actually really interesting because like I've read stuff that it just 200 pages goes by and it's just
Nothing's happened, right?
yeah, it's just like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, and I
Let's go.
actually I think I dealt with a first time writer recently who was so happy that I edited her book. She just was like, "Oh my god." But I think especially when you're a first time writer and she was doing contemporary YA and in a high school setting, they want to tell you things you don't need to know. Like, I don't care about your class or your teacher or
Right.
what he's doing or what's on the board. You're in an abusive relationship and you have a crush on this person and we're trying to figure out that. Like, who cares what you're learning in history?
Right.
It's not relevant. But I think people get bogged down in the details because they want to create, a world. But the thing is, and I tell everybody this, you can do with setting in 3 lines if they're really, really good 3 lines. You know what I mean? When I ask people to expand on setting, I said, I can't get a good picture of where you're at. I don't want 2 paragraphs of you going on. I mean, I want 3 to 4 really good lines where you can set that scene up for me and get the action going. And the same thing with her in the classroom. Just say you're in a classroom, staring at your crush. We don't care about the history teacher's background and how you had an encounter with him 2 years ago, but you don't care, and I understand that they feel like they have to, like, you have to throw everything in, but you don't. Sometimes less is more.
It's like, if it's not relevant, if it's not relevant to the story,
scene,
you don't
or
need
what I care about.
Yeah.
When in doubt, cut it out. Cut out the extraneous stuff that that doesn't do anything. When I was writing my Nephilim book, we set it in where we're making real historical figures like Nephilim, so they were so powerful in life because they weren't really mortal.
Mm-hmm.
And we're playing around different gods and things like that.
Ooh, okay, so I need to read this book.
You will like it. You will really like it.
Need to read this book.
It's part of it set in like when you first meet the hero, he's actually in Babylon, the Tower of Babel, like the mythical thing. Well, that's their dark Nephilim academy.
Ooh.
So I had to do a little more setting there, but there's necessary to do setting because you're like, why are you in Babel? Like, what does this mean? Like, who are these people? But it actually pushed the plot forward. So I always tell people, if you're going to do it, it has to have actually something to do with what you are writing about. Just don't throw it in there because you think it's cool. Because as a reader, as you know, you get frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to be one of those people where I would read a book from cover to cover, regardless of what happened, do a review.
Not anymore, right?
And no, if by like 50 to 100 pages, if I don't care if those characters fell off the face of the planet or got blown up, I'm done.
It's true. It's true.
And there's been a few that I've actually stopped reading after a few chapters because it's like you get to a point and it's like, okay, this is your problem. Why do I care? Why do I care that you're having these problems? I don't care.
I don't care. If you don't care, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because you should want to know what's happening to these characters and you should want to care about them. And if you get to a point where you're like,
somebody get poisoned or something.
Yeah, somebody do something. I've actually, most of my clients are lovely, and especially when you work with newer ones. Some of them are established, so they have a pattern. But I've actually written that. Why do I care? Why do I care? There has to be a reason, because sometimes you don't get into your character's head the way you need to.
Right.
So, the character's acting in all these different ways, but you don't get it because you're not in their head. So why do you care? And it's harsh but true, but it's what I tell all new writers. You have to get into your character's head. We have to know what makes them tick, because if not, why do we care?
I love that. I mean, it makes it so simple. That I was reading a manuscript a couple of days ago because an author had written herself into a hole, and everybody that's watching will probably realize who that author I'm talking about, but I can't tell you anything about it. My lips are sealed. No. No. I will say that if you figure out who it is, the next book is going to kill everybody. Everybody's going to die because of things.
Okay.
But I was reading it, and there was like a whole beginning of this thing, and I'm like, okay, these people, like those people, we're watching them sit here, fondling each other. Basically, why do I care?
Why do I care?
Great, why do I care? And it just makes it so simple, to be able to cut stuff out because of just that. You guys need to like market that that advice.
Why?
There's a book.
Why do I
There's
care?
a new book on how to write a book. One page.
Why do I care? No, so, I don't know if you ever read I'm sure you've read the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Everybody read.
Yeah.
Katniss to other characters was cold.
Mm-hmm.
But to us, we understood all her motivations. We were in her thoughts. We understood why she kept her distance. But can you imagine if we didn't know? Why would we care? We'd be like, she's just being a cold brat and I don't like her. But, Suzanne Collins was in her head. So we had great sympathy for her because we got why. She was cold and seemed whatever. But when you're writing these kinds of characters, if I don't understand why do I care about you? You're just being like whatever, so you really need to make that connection with the audience. I hope I did that with Reggie. I hope you cared about her. I really do.
Well, I finished it, so
They finished it, so
that's a plus.
I guess you cared. But you have to make, sympathetic people, and Reggie's a bit of a hard character too, but you're in her head enough to understand, she had a shit life, so she's a tough exterior. But, you have to write those characters as sympathetic internally or, the big page. Why do I care about you or your problems? So that's my advice to everybody writing out there.
Oh, well, here's a slightly more personal question about movies. COVID hit us pretty hard, and New York, of course, got hit even harder.
We got hit the hardest.
Were there any movies you were hoping to see that you didn't get to see?
Any movie? I haven't been to movies in years. This is sad. I've actually felt that TV's kind of moved into a golden age. Like I prefer like Netflix or Hulu and things that are going on than film. Lately, there's some films I still like to see, but mostly I guess because series allow you to have sort of depth that a movie can't.
Right.
And there's so many good things on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon. Yeah. And I kind of don't watch movies anymore because I prefer like the series.
Mm-hmm. Because they can do so much more with it.
They could do so much more.
I saw the previews to Cursed. Coming out, and it's coming out the day before my birthday, and I was like, yes. We were going through totes to find all the books for the author chats for July, and I found the book for Cursed. It's like actually right here. It's within grabbing distance.
Like Game of Thrones is now. Oh, nice!
That thing is so thick. This thing's so heavy. If the zombies attack, I know what book I'm using.
You're gonna use that. Kill them.
That thing's heavy.
Yeah, but think about it. Game of Thrones, the ending is controversial the last season, but they could have never done that in film.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
So I think that just for me, I've been enjoying like TV so much because there's so many actually really good shows out there. I watched The Witcher the other day too with Henry Cavill, who's like smoking hot.
Good.
I was like,
you can actually, it's on YouTube somewhere. You can actually watch him read The Witcher.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the best audiobook ever. That thing probably has like a couple bajillion views by now.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. But, I think, especially if you like the fantasy genre, TV's where it's at. It's much easier to give you some real like depth, and it's not rushed.
Well, you're lucky. You're lucky because right when COVID hit here, we had just gotten passes to go watch The Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh, I love the first movie.
Yeah, in like the big theater, in the nice reclining seats, right in the center. And then they got canceled. I was like, no.
Also, I'm gonna tell you kind of funny story why I don't go to the movies here anymore either. Something always happens to me when I go to the movies. I'm either behind the person who's like chomping on popcorn so loud, I'm just like Do you want to be alone with your popcorn? Or one time my husband and I went to the movies and some guy had his wife's feet on the back of my chair and was massaging it.
What?
Yeah. Or I'm with the person who decides to tell the entire plot on the phone while we're watching the plot to somebody. That's where I end up. So I kind of got frustrated. And I was like, I don't want to, and going to the movies isn't cheap anymore.
It's not. We have a local one that's out in Lakeland called the Cobb. We don't go there. We don't go there. We go to Disney Springs where it is assigned seats. So you can show up like 2 seconds before the movie starts. Nobody's going to be sitting in your seat. And then I do all like the reclining seats.
Oh, that's great.
So it's like a recliner type thing. It's like nice seats with heat in them and like the whole 9 yards.
I think the last movie I saw was in reclined seats, and it was pretty decent experience. But you just don't like want to pay $20 a person to have somebody have their feet try to massage their wife's feet on you, and you're just like, what is happening to me?
No, I would have my husband or one of my kids like go to customer service.
So after like several bad experiences, I was like, you know what? I have a big screen TV at home. I have like the Fandango app. It's gonna be fine. Fine, I'll just eat a pizza. Okay. So
I guess that's if you have a good setup at home, that is the way to go, because you could sit there and you always have snacks on hand.
Always have snacks
that you're not paying like $20,000 for, and you don't have to sneak anything in. That's the nice thing about Disney Springs, though. You can go grab anything you want in Disney Springs. If you want to eat a whole pizza, go grab it from nice. I think it's like Red something, or you can take a whole pizza in there. They don't care.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I just remember when I was a teenager and like going to the movies was like a cheap date. No, not anymore.
No. Even here, like a kid's ticket is like $10.
I know. By the time you get popcorn or snacks, like how did I pay $70?
Right.
And I better like this movie for $70.
We went out the other day because we don't go like at sit down restaurants very often because it's so expensive. But it's like everything's open now, and it's like we just wanted to get out of the house and we go and sit down, and we usually just split stuff because we poor, so we just split.
I get it.
And everybody's like, oh well, I want my own stuff, so everybody got their own stuff, and then the bill comes and it's like $86, and my husband's like, out. And I'm like, see, now you know why we don't go out to eat. No.
I get it.
So expensive. So I love that you've mentioned Nephilim like a couple of times, but you don't feel the need to explain it. I love how all this paranormal stuff is just so common nowadays.
So common. And Google.
Because
like Google that if you don't know what it is.
Back when I was younger and stuff, I've been pagan for like over 20 years. It was still like a faux pas thing to tell people, hey, I'm a witch, and now it's just like, oh, that's awesome. Hey, all this stuff. It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I just love how people they just know what it is. You don't have to explain any of the paranormal anymore. It's like, I feel like if we had a zombie apocalypse, or ghosts decided to take over or something,
we know what to do.
We would be okay. We would survive way better than anybody else.
Actually, I prefer the zombie to the pandemic. I could take care of the zombie.
Well, it just depends on what zombies. Because if it's like the zombies from like World War Z,
maybe I
will pass on those zombies.
No, I'll pass on them. They're too fast.
I don't like those zombies.
No, they're like the zombies from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, because those zombies, you can like walk past them as long as you're not making no noise. They don't know you're there. Like the Resident Evil and the World War Z zombies, you can keep those things because they know where all the live people are. I don't want them zombies. No. No. So speaking of Nephilim and everything else, how much research did you have to do for your titles?
Oh, it's gonna be embarrassing. For the Blood Mage series, not a lot really. I based a lot of things off of experiences. Reggie's based off of a really good friend I had in high school and sort of her life with her mom and like what I observed. Because with the Blood Mage series, I kind of made up an entire world. It's an
Mhm.
alternative world for us, so I didn't really have to do a lot of research. And I read enough fantasy so much to kind of know all the terminology. Like I didn't really have to. I mean, I didn't have to do much work. Most of that series is just from my head.
Right.
Because you know the one thing I did do, I don't know if you noticed, I did a spin on steampunk a bit.
Oh, okay.
For the other, you know, the other is if you've ever
Mhm.
read steampunk, seems very steampunky,
Yeah.
but everything's just magic. So I joked that I
Mhm.
coined the phrase magic punk because I wanted to create an alternative world that was familiar enough to you but bizarre.
Right.
Like it was modern enough that you didn't feel like you'd stepped into sort of like a classic fantasy, which this is not what
Mhm.
this is. But I wanted it to be weird enough that you're like, oh, you know, they have like floating airships and crazy things.
A lot of
And
it kind of reminded me of another book called The Girl in the Steel Corset by Katie Cross, because they have like automatons and like
right.
stuff like this, because it's very steampunky, and then this just has like the magic inside of it. I mean, it worked it worked well. It was
Yay!
really good. I need book 2 and 3.
Well, you will get them. You will get them soon. They will be out soon. I will send you an arc of 2.
Woo!
There you go. We heard it here. So if I try to get out of this deal, you can say that you heard this. The Nephilim book was a little different because we have so many different characters from mythology.
Mhm.
Alexander the Great is actually one of my villains, which
Oh,
is
that's
it's
cool.
a cool spin. And then I have like Hammurabi in there.
Mhm.
And I have Ishtar from Babylonian folklore, and then we kind of went crazy with that sort of region. So it plus Babylon itself, I had to figure out like what it used to look like, so I could do a good enough description that you felt you were sort of grounded in that part. And then
I need to bring both of you guys onto the show for that book.
yeah, you do.
Yes.
You have fun.
Yes.
Molly and I had fun. And then
Yes.
and then we have the Light School of Nephilim. They are at the ancient Library of Alexandria in Egypt. That was supposed to be burned down, but according to the book, it never did.
Right.
Just humans think that it did, but it's actually, you know, a house for Nephilim who are learning how to control their powers and all the other stuff. So that required a
Ooh.
bit more research because you're trying to blend like mythology that already exists with your own twist, with history and your own twist. But I've been to Greece. My husband is Greek American, so I've been to Greece several times. So that was easier for me to get that part down, that
That's
description
cool.
down. I like the ancient world though. That's kind of my jam.
So is Greece, does it really look like what is it, like, where the girl goes, like the Sisterhood of Traveling Pants and all those different things where like the
Oh,
water is so blue and
yes.
oh, it's so pretty.
It spoils you, and you're from Florida, so I'm gonna offend you, and I don't mean to offend you, but
I'm from Ohio. You will not offend me.
well, after you swim in the Mediterranean, you kind of don't want to swim anywhere else.
I don't like the ocean, so I'll have to worry about
Well,
that one.
no, I get it, but I get it though. But the Mediterranean's so clear.
See,
It's like
that I
swimming
like.
in a
I'd probably
pool,
swim in that. I'll swim in that.
and it's warm and it's so salty you just float.
Oh, cool.
But see, I don't like swimming here in waters I can't see. If I can't
Yeah,
see it,
no,
I
no,
don't go.
no. Mm-mm.
No, all that water's like crystal clear. So you're just swimming, you see everything, and so you don't feel like something's gonna come up from above. Like
See, exactly. See, that's my problem with the ocean, because like
yeah.
the girls always want. I have 2 girls, and they constantly want to go to the beach, and I'm like, I don't like the beach. I don't like the beach at all.
If the
And
water's not clear, I'm not into
yeah,
it.
no, I do not like getting into water where I cannot see the bottom.
No.
We used to go to a lake up in Ohio all the time, and it would still freak me out, even though I know there wasn't anything in it, because I mean it's Ohio. They don't have gators or anything like that, but you don't want to go. You don't want to do that here in Florida.
No.
You won't survive. You won't be coming back. But yeah, see that I'll swim in that if I can see the bottom.
Oh,
As
you
long as
love it
it's
though.
not
You
like,
never get out of the water.
like 10 feet down.
Oh, you can
Water.
see everything. So it's great for snorkeling because the more far you go out, if it's calm,
Oh,
you can see
wow.
like everything. And another good place.
Like, how deep is that though?
Most of the beaches are like that. Crete, all the islands.
But it's like, I'm guessing it's like way over your head, right?
No, it depends on where
Okay.
you're at. It depends. I don't even mind that if it's clear because I don't care.
Uh-huh.
Because it's so salty, you can float. If you get tired, you just
Yeah.
float on back.
more
Just
concerned about like what is the ratio of me being the water and something coming at me that I'm going to be able
there are
to
no
swim?
there are no sharks in Greece, so you're fine.
Oh, what?
Mm-mm. The islands haven't had an incident of a shark since 1967.
Why? That's weird.
There's a lot of reef.
Oh, okay.
Florida doesn't have reef.
Okay, yeah, no.
So, other interesting thing, which is
That
off
makes
writing,
sense.
Bermuda has crystal clear water,
Uh-huh.
tons of reef, and I know there are sharks, but I think they had one sighting, no attacks again in like 50 years. But I'm swimming with sea turtles legit last summer. And I'm looking around, the pink sand beaches and the water are clear. And sharks like sea turtles.
Right.
I was there for 2 weeks swimming, never saw anything, but I'm thinking like, and the water's clear, I could see something coming to get me.
Oh, God.
But I'm just like, but there's so much reef that they can't flip over it, they get confused.
Right.
But you're like, because if I went in Hawaii and did that, and I was like, tiger sharks are gonna come. I can't swim with this turtle. No. You know what I mean? Like, turtle, go that way.
Oh, God. That reminds me of a book that I interviewed. Oh, what was her name? She wrote Fractured Tide, and her book is about like diving. It's really good. You won't want to swim in the ocean after you read this book, though. Like seriously, because she goes scuba diving, and she was like they were way down. I think she said they were like 20 feet down. They were like way down in there, and they're swimming through this stuff, and then she realized what they're in. They're in like this long grass, which makes me reminds me like the raptors are going to come and kill her or something.
Yeah.
And this is like what sharks like to go hunt in. And it's like, nope.
Yeah, when I was in Hawaii, we were in December, so that's when all the turtles migrate.
Oh, that's so
gorgeous.
Cool.
But
you should do some kind of sea fantasy.
I should.
Because there's like there's the House of Salt and Sorrow had them like a lighthouse. And there's another one,
that's a good idea. It's not a bad idea.
Coral and Pearl or something. It's about like two sisters and they have like this blood coral and they were like seafaring people. It was amazing. I think like with what I've read, you could do so much with that, especially, having firsthand experience with all the reefs and stuff. You could do some magic, girl. You could do some magic.
You make me think.
Everybody says that.
Making me think.
Like, is there a job for that, to help authors come up with plots, for new books? That is my new job.
That's your new job. You can handle the sea. You'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll think about that. I like it. So,
yes.
I'm a beach girl. Not a beach girl here.
Right.
I am a beach girl.
Gotta be the right location.
She's not here. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, that is all the questions that I have today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And this was awesome. I cannot wait for the print copy to come because I want to oogle that cover in person.
Pretty.
It's so pretty. I love that cover. Like it's one of the very few covers from like self-published and small pub that if you just saw that in the store, you wouldn't think that was from a small publisher.
No, you would.
You would think that it was just
it looks like from the big five.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's amazing. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me as a guest.
Yes, and hit me up about getting you guys on the show for when the other book comes out.
Yes. We will.
Nephilim, God, that is my cup of tea.
You might like it. I think you will.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to join us tomorrow for Now and When by Sarah Bennett Wheeler. Just one change. It is no longer at 5 o'clock. It is now at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And this is another one with a great cover. I really love it's all like drawn.
Love it.
And this is about a girl that I guess her cell phone sends her messages from the future. And it's about like this guy that she despises. And she ends up dating him in the future, and then everything in her life goes wrong. So I was reading this earlier at Universal, and it's so funny. It's good. It's really good. And it comes out next month. So catch you guys later. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.